And we're live. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the Abyss. Today is gonna be another art day. I'm planning on continuing where I was last time. Now, I don't remember if I finished this guy here, but I will be making this guy at the very least. And I think my only plan really is to kind of talk about how I'm going through these things, because this is something that I've learned while I was studying. I was trying to get better at competitive games a while back, and one of the things that really helps is if you vocalize what you want to say, or what you're thinking, right? It helps you focus on not zoning out, not just doing your own thing. So that's what I kind of plan to do a little bit of. I plan to do a little bit more just kind of vocalization practice of how I created this sheet of characters, how I plan to kind of go through a lot of my own assets. And I feel the other portion that I want to get better at is just speaking in general, because as I've begun to do the abhorrent thing of watching my own videos back. Let me say that's never fun, especially if you're just starting off. And the first thing that I noticed about a lot of my speech when I'm talking on live stream, especially since I don't have anyone, I'm just talking to the Abyss, essentially. Oh, that hurt. Ignore that. Since I'm just kind of talking to the Abyss, more or less, I'm not getting any real feedback yet. And as a result, I'm kind of unsure about a lot of things that I've said. I mentioned that before in one of my other streams. But this is how I improve. So, forgive me if I continue just kind of talking to myself a bit, but there are 3 things that I want to try to do this stream. Let me open up, what was his name? Wallhanger, is that right? I want to say that's actually pretty well done. The solid black line here was the indicator of where the ground would be. And I think blurring the lines a bit is actually pretty fine. In fact, I would even go so far as to say that it's almost too small. But this is something that goes into the creation style of what I'm going for, more or less. Let me save this. Wow, that's a wide variety. We'll call this guy what did he look like compared to so there's the slime. So slime's simple, and this would be slime fast, or take this slime fast. So slime small fast. That's what I'm going to go with for now. I don't have really a better name for him just yet. I think the goal that I'm going to go for, because let's be fair, that ain't a straight line. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But what I can say is I can alter this to be it, as one of my friends pointed out before. This is just kind of the rough guide as to kind of how to create the beginning of your digital art. The process I go through is actually, I'm kind of refining it still, but I think I've gotten into a kind of good groove. And that's, you first start off with an idea. So in my case, all of these assets were straight up me going, all right, I want to create a game. That's just long and the short of it. I want to create a game. So the next step is, what kind of game? Well, I kind of like Metroidvanias. I play a lot of Metroidvanias, such as Darksiders, Metroid, Hollow Knight, a lot of different types of Metroidvania and Metroidvania-esque games. So I began to think, well, first thing you're going to need to make is assets of some kind. So the easier assets, in my opinion, are test blocks. Things that you can just kind of put down for walls, for obstacles, for spikes, platforms, movie shooty kind of turrets kind of things. And then the next thing is, that's a little bit more difficult, is your enemies. So once I begin to think about enemies, I go, okay, well, what are the common enemies you see in basically every single one of those games? And that's where I came up with this list. The first type you normally encounter is some form of slow-moving enemy, whether it's a humanoid or slime or something that's relatively weak and slow-moving. In the case of Hollow Knight, you've got the little munchling bug guys, I forget their name. And then you have, in the case of Metroid, you've got, depending upon the Metroid, a lot of the little wall hanger boys, the little, I forget, again, I know what they look like. I forget what they're called though. So let me see if I can't look it up. So in Metroid, they're called a zoomer. Perfect. So the zoomer is the first enemy you find. Let me see if I can't take a picture of this. And then let me go ahead and file new. So this is the enemy that you encounter. Now, obviously, in the original, it had different pixel art. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, here he is. That right there. That's a zoomer. And zoomers were just small, easy to kill enemies that were for you to basically learn how to do combat. And that's the entire, like, first. Like, you got, Brainstar of original Metroid, the beginning area. The next most common thing is a wall hanger of some kind, which in Metroid's case was the Scree, which are those little bat things that jump down from the sky. I like all the official, like, fandom. There's a lot of, like, really cool high quality fan art. Then you have the normal flying enemy, which was called the Mellows or Mellow. So those guys were they were the bugs that kind of flapped around. So those are like the kind of enemies you want to think about when you're creating things. So the various types that I would consider are slow moving, easy to hit types of enemies, and then it comes down to your theme. So obviously Metroid's space themed, so all the enemies are like space bugs, or so bugs is going to be a big feature of a lot of enemies that are like zombies, purely because, well, insects already look like they're aliens. So if you're having an alien themed game, or Metroidvania of any kind, you can just kind of look to what's in nature already to get an idea as to what maybe would naturally evolve elsewhere on different planets with life. Water. Similar to our own. Whoa. My microphone just... Well, not just the microphone. My windshield also just fell. As you probably heard. But yeah, so that's where I kind of started coming up with ideas with... This was the slime, the one that I showed before. That guy. So I don't have... Actually, I already created an animation for this guy. That looks super bad, to be honest. I think well, obviously what I would need to do is duplicate frames or slow down the frame rate. Which there's a way to do that. I don't remember what it was aside from just duplicating frames, but... Yes, here we go. So the end goal is to have frame 1 and 10 be identical. And maybe, like, slide him forward 1 and then go back so the way he, like, jitters in place almost. And it's... The idea is, while this animation is playing, he'll be moving pixel by pixel to the left. So if he moves at, let's say, 5 frames per pixel, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on 1 pixel. Then he moves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, yeah, okay, so this transition needs some work, obviously. I need to move him forward a bit. But that's something for another time. For now, I just want to create the actual looking. Now, you can tell on this guy, he still needs some work considering how his weak spot is, like, super shaded. His arm is decently shaded. And then he has 0 shading on his front. So what I would want to do is I want to see... this shade is actually lighter. What shading did I use? Okay, so I must have used that, right? Yeah, okay. So what I would want to do city. Oh, that's the shading I used. Oh, shoot. But I gotta make things difficult for myself. All right, let me see if I can't. If I go here, I should be able to... Huh? What's the shortcut for that again? I don't actually remember. Alright, whatever. I'll just... take this... That's what I thought it was. And we'll do that. So I'll do... Now, I want this to become this. Easiest way I know how to do that, honestly, is just to copy and paste it. But yeah, that's my... So that's the color code. Put that in, and... Oh, it's because it already exists. It's just going to default to... Man... That's stupid. I want to insert. What did I just do? How did I just do that? What? Oh, wait. Can I literally just move this to here? And then do something like that? Actually, yeah, that's fine. Oh, gradient. Yup. So, now... Take something like this. Turn Spotify a bit. Also, I apologize in advance to my Facebook viewers. I'm not actually streaming on ArchOfAbyss. I'm am streaming on Abyssal Art purely because Facebook does some weird things where they segregate you based upon what content you create, and you can't have multiple tags as far as I'm aware. But there are also, I haven't looked into it too much, to be completely fair. However, judging from how the Harris Heller music that I use is considered still copyright like claim, and they mute my stream, even though Harris Heller himself has come out and stated, hey, that's dumb. You know, wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't a way, or there wasn't, like, what's the word? Like, if you wouldn't be able to have multiple tags, right? So I just decided to create a new page for Abyssal Art. And so all my Abyssal Art content will go onto that page. I know it looks weird, looks bad, or whatever, but honest, like, that was just my attempt at figuring out the system without trying too much, to be completely honest. No, I don't want that. There we go. I think what I want it to look more like, in all honesty, I want it to do that a little bit. Wait. Oh, what? Do that. There we go. So now it looks a little bit more corrupted, I guess. And then what I want to do here is I want to make I actually kind of want to make a spherical, like, curve, and then a curve this way. I think the best way to do that is to do something like this. And then there's no extra sheeting, right? Okay. And then I'll take you. Oops. This is just gonna give it that pop, you know? And what I want to make it is, and then I want to make it like 1 pixel wide, more or less. I think I want it to terminate there. I liked it better like this. I actually think maybe doing something more along the lines of this might make it look a little better. And then I just need to add some more thickness to the front shade. There we go. At the very least, it looks super overshaded. Trying to think, how would I... Because as a standalone, like, pixel thing, I don't think it looks terrible as, like, an actual, like, character in mod, like, in a game. How would I rate this? I don't think I'd rate it too highly, to be completely honest. But for my first picture, I think it's pretty good. Plus, I don't really, you know... It's not that I don't care. It's that for this asset, for this game, initially, I think I can refine it more later. Especially during like the animation process. As for now, I think it's good enough to kind of move on. Let me get rid of that for now. Yeah, I'll get rid of that as well. And let me save this guy and do the outline. What I want to do for the outline, I also wanted to decide what I want. Oh, right. I think I want to try taking this whole thing and scaling it down from the get-go. The way I do that is I need to take this. Let me go ahead and put him at around there, and then crop. So now we do that. We do Shift L. We drag up. Gigantic meat bun. It is 9:30, my dudes. Oh, right. I keep doing that. Jeez. Sorry if you guys have been chatting and I didn't see it or something. I don't think anyone's chatted just yet, but didn't have multi-stream up again. I really need to get into the habit of using that. Oops. It was the other way because I'm going top down. So we match that up. And this guy's gonna be striped and small, like a little meat bun. I've been drawing on the duplicate, or on the original, not on the outline later. Shoot. Well, let me just undo all of that. Z, draw on this. So now from bottom to top, you start on the bottom, you go to the bottom first. So we take that off, and now we create a new layer. And we're gonna call this first pass. And in this first pass, I didn't want to create a new layer. I wanted to duplicate layer and then merge down. Call this first pass. And the reason why that's important is I think what I'm going to go with is a combination of, can I mix reverse colors? Hold on. So if I click this and I click reverse. Oh, whoa. Not what I thought would happen. I do descending. Huh? So what I want to do is I want to take this green and I want to take this white. I want to select all of these in between and gradient them. Then I want to put them back. There we go. And I want to take this, this. And then the idea is going to be as he's sliding along his charge, there's like attack, I guess you could say. I don't know. Maybe he'll just be a crawler. But I was thinking of adding like a crawler type enemy in the game. And then we're gonna blur, so brush. We're gonna fade these colors all together. Same thing down here. Use a light color there. Darken that guy up a bit. And then deep purple. different kind of purple. And then now what I want to do is I want to plug back in my headphones because I accidentally unplugged them once again. I need to figure out how to solve that. Apologies if this sounds horrible. Where's the microphone plug? Get back in there. There you go. Alright. So I want to shore up the outline as well. And the way I'm going to do that is simply just doubling up the lines that I had already made. I don't like how I want to do on top. I don't know how I like that. I feel like I'd like it a lot more if it was more like that, I think. I actually am curious. What if I took this color and just... Whoops. First thing I'd have to do is isolate each section. So if I fill that with that, that with that, that with that, and actually, let me do that there, and oof. And then, yeah. Brush. Let's make them fatter. I'm gonna have to go on the inside for all of these ones though, just because bubbles. Also, what I want to do is change this to brown, so I have an isolated color for the ground. And then what I want to do is I want to replace the black. Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't shored this side up. Wanted to see how that look. And then now I want to blur. Brush type circular, pixels 2. Because the idea is Shift L. Oops. I'm gonna create a gash here. And it's going to take, we're gonna do this. Gradient, take it back up there. I want to take this to replace, I want to be brush mode. Am I in brush mode? Brush mode. Thank you. I want to take this. There we go. Let me do that, to be honest. So what I'm going for here is a gash kind of look. And the way you do that is essentially by making a gradient. And honestly, I think I did a pretty bad job in terms of color choices. Oops. If this is going to be the color scheme, I want it to degrade much quicker. So the only way I can really pull that off is to alternate colors and kind of create this funky gradient so not everything is the same. Just kind of really mess up with your eyes when you're looking at this thing in comparison to like the rest of the green. So what this is the site at which the caterpillar gets corrupted, and so then the idea is off of this will be corrupted like lines. And maybe I can add this will add options in terms of I can make it more I can pulsate it, and B, as the story progresses, this gives me a sliding bar that I can tune more or less. For lack of a better word. Actually, I should probably make it more like that and that. Hey, I'm being featured on the homepage once again. Why? I don't know, but I truly do appreciate it. Thank you, DLive. So, essentially, the reason I'm even going for this in terms of like how I created this concept, is, let me save it. I started off with an idea, right? So Metroidvania, space, Abyss, these assets are for something where you're facing a bunch of alien enemies, but much like Metroid, they get infected with something. So this right here is essentially the infection. And I feel like that's a core of a lot of Metroidvanias, is either you're in a hostile environment where you need to, in order to progress, you need to level yourself up. For example, a game like Dishonored is an exception to this rule, purely because you're in a hostile environment through like a kingdom means. But most other ones, like most zombie games, for example, they have a similar theme where people just, it's an easy way to explain why people are attacking you for no good reason. You might argue it's lazy story writing. I just argue that it's an easy but simple but effective way to justify like a lot of enemies just randomly attacking you with no given warning. But yeah, so the main idea of this guy is he's going to be just like the original slime, just smaller hitbox and a lot faster. So that's that guy done. That was pretty easy, pretty painless. Now this guy is a hybrid between the Stomper, who's a lot slower, but essentially charges after you. I mean, I haven't fully decided. There's one or two ways I want to go with Stomper, and that's either one that causes shock waves and just blindly charges at you, or it can be a like a charged beam kind of thing where it sees you. It's patrolling around very, very slowly, and if it sees you in a linear path, it'll fire a beam of some kind to try to either slow you down or, you know, take you out, more or less. So let's go ahead, create new, and go through this process once again. So now we've got our OG image, and I think it worked out pretty well, where what I did was I took the OG image and brought it down to the size that I wanted, which in this case is gonna be 3 squares high. And that is something I'm finding out through this process, is the actual working window of small pixel games. While yes, it is easier to, I should have cropped it. Let's crop it to this. And then let me move it over 2 pixels. And now we create a new layer that we're going to call outline. And I'm actually going to take this OG image first, and I'm going to expand it widthwise. There we go. Now we go back to our outline. We take this color here. And the main thought with this guy is, I think what I was talking about before, where I was deciding whether or not to make this guy like a turret or make him a stomper, like a roller. I think that's the reason why I created this guy, because I figured, hey, why not both? So this one will roll at you, and so I made his design much more like a bowling ball. However, in order to be an effective patrol, you can't just be constantly rolling around when your entire like shtick is you have an actual like eyeball sensor kind of thing. I also did that in part from a game design perspective, because I feel like that would be a lot more fair if you have a slow moving target who just kind of blindly charges forward, which is something like the rollers in Hollow Knight. So that's a thought I'd never finished before. You'll see a lot of things following insects, for example Hollow Knight and Space Pirates in Metroid, simply because exoskeleton creatures just seem like a natural defensive kind of thing. So it's easy to kind of create these otherworldly beings out of creatures that have evolved naturally in a defensive manner. But enough about the creation theory behind how I decided on making a lot of these. Let's get back to actually creating one. Now, I will mention, let me create a ground layer here. The main idea of this one is going to be, instead of rolling around, because in this guy, I think the idea I wanted to go for was that I don't know how I would describe it. Maybe I should have added like a line from here to here. So something like that's boop. That isn't what I wanted. Something like that, where how do I explain it? These things stay where they are, but the ball comes out. Right? And the ball comes out, and then the ball comes back like a boomerang. And then afterwards, it will pause for a second, giving the player the opportunity to hit the weak spot in the back. The other idea would be that these would fold inward, so it drops down and then rolls out like so. Like this entire thing just turns into a ball within 10 frames or so, and from there it rolls, and then when it bumps into something before the arms come back, the weak spot will be exposed. Something along those lines. This one, however, is going to be in a similar aspect. Let me switch back to brush. And let me deselect everything, just so I'm not bounding myself. This one, on the other hand, will be... let me pixel perfect this. I could do that. I feel like I don't want to make it so perfect, to be honest. I want to do something akin to that. And this is something else that I've kind of learned to accept, and that is, oh, I could also just be doing this the entire time. I wonder how this will turn out. Yeah, see, the issue I have with that is it doesn't give you that quite the same feel of a single but double, if that makes sense. Something I have learned is to also kind of have fun with the geometric shapes, because there's no one saying, hey, here's the absolute right way to make this. Now, I try to stay symmetrical for certain enemies just because that's in their characteristics. But let me take this guy. Woo! Also, hold on, I'm gonna check something real quick. Oh, that's right. I can get rid of that now on the Stomper. Come on. Alright, whatever. That's fine. We're going to turn that transparent. And we're going to remove all of that. And then we're going to fill in the background. The only reason why I had that there before was so I could distinguish between the gray backdrop and the gray pieces. But you will want all of your things to be on a transparent background, simply to allow you easy transition of the assets to the game. Alright, so what do I want to do here? So it looks like I had an idea of doing something akin to this, and I think what I want, to be completely honest, oops, is I want to make this part the glowing crystal. So we do that. Excuse me. I think what I want to do is I want to make it something akin to this, and then no, because what I should do here, I should cut it off at the pass there and get rid of these. And before I continue, I should double up on like everything, all the corners, and I want them all to be on the outside. Yeah, that's fine. I want these to be on the inside though, I think. And then do something like that. And do something like that. And then this will be the eye. And I think what I want it to do is I really want it to alternate. I want this to be the softest layer. And then I want to make this the next. That way it like looks like a piece of the core. And then I want it to be surrounded by that. And then I want a darker shade. So the way I'm gonna have to do that is I'm gonna have to, I'll just take this color palette that I know, and then I'll take this, open its color palette up, paste it, don't add an A, and then we'll gradient it across. And then now I've got a darker shade of purple, which I can use as the actual part of the outline. And what do you think you are doing? We take that. We go up here. And we change it back. Alright. There we go. I know I labeled this first pass, but let's be fair here. It's now already dove a little bit into second pass territory, which is fine. So that's whoa. No, I didn't fall in my chair. I know what you're talking about. That's the first pass of the weak spot. I haven't called this guy something yet. What was this guy? This guy is going to be beam turret maybe, or sentry crystal. That's what we'll call him. Now the real question is going to be, though, what color scheme do we want to go with? I'm personally kind of feeling now that this is still the outline layer. It's not even first pass. We're gonna duplicate this and we're gonna go back in and we're just gonna we're gonna hide this and we're gonna erase all of this. And actually, before I do that, I'm gonna take this. And I'm gonna erase all of the evidence. There we go. All right. Really should. Ah. What I'm going to do is duplicate those, and I'm going to merge these down. I'm going to call this first pass. There we go. And it's fixed. And you'll notice it takes up the same exact outline now. So what am I going to go from here? I'm going to remove the OG image. And I honestly need to shore up all of these as well. Jeez. I was so focused on the weak point that I totally ignored the rest of the drawing. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm actually going to go on the outside for that because I feel that it looks too thin. I think I want to go the other way, actually. What I'm doing is I'm creating a duplicate shadow for the back legs. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this, and I'm gonna fill that. We'll fill it with a lighter color so that I can fill the back legs with the darker color. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna choose a nice deep dark blue. And I want to choose a lighter blue for this. And we'll choose that color for that. And I think what I want to do is choose a deeper color for that. My envision is this is gonna go ahead and it's gonna be like a bot, more or less. And it's gonna just drop its jaw. This entire thing. This is gonna separate, and there's gonna be something about 3 pixels, 4 pixels wide that will go ahead and send out a 1 second blast, and it's gonna take 2 seconds to fire, 1 second to blast, 2 seconds to recharge, and then it's gonna sense again. And what I want for the sensor is, and this is gonna be like a corrupted piece. I want lighter color red and a darker color surrounding it. In all honesty, I want take you, copy, paste, leave it, do that, I want more red and less blue. And then I want to take you, want to do a nice little gradient, put that there, and then put a nice dark layer around it. And then I want this to be like overflowing. So now we can get rid of this. We got a pretty decent image of what we're going for at the very least. Next is going to be gradienting. So in order to do that, you simply take a lighter color. And this is, my initial assumption is going to be that that's not the same. I'm an idiot. That there's a frontward sheen. I don't want to do too much of the sheen. But then as it gets closer to the back, you want to shade it the same direction. Excuse me. Oh, I am so sneezy tonight. I don't know what's up. Someone's talking about me behind my back. So now I choose this guy. We're gonna go ahead and the idea is single pixel when in doubt, and then you want to have it be like the same kind of bulge where it's how do I describe this? Also, I need to take this and do what I did before, where I do that, paste that, We're gonna just gradient this. We're gonna take that. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and that color. There we go. And then we choose this. I'm gonna go to above. Trying to match with this guy here, which honestly I think what I'm gonna do is do something like that, where there's a top heavy lightness. And then if I choose this guy, we're gonna choose 2 shades, 3 shades. And I can take this and I'll raise it up a bit. And I feel like the only complaint I'd have is the inconsistent spread of light, but as you can see, like, that's there, and then the angle changes, which is not good. But I don't know how deep I want to make this color change, to be honest. Because if you make them more and more parallel, then looking at it, getting it there, then this color change is going to need to be as parallel. It's going to require it to go like there. And then in order to kind of compensate with that, I have to make something like that. And then if I add the same thing here, it's going to be pretty hard to pull off, to be completely honest. Something like that. And then if I take this guy, the only way I can really foresee this being pulled off even relatively well is like that. And then we still got the legs to go. The main key about the shading is just keeping it relatively consistent. So let's choose this level. Oops. Also, I find lines are your friends, so always just kind of keep that in mind. 2 1 2 1 2 1. I can remember that. I also want to take like a mixture of these two. So I think what I want to do is this. I want to take this guy. See, that one's a little harder to remember. Now I want to take the gradient of these, something like this, to, oops, fill in these. I actually want to go a little brighter. Something that just sticks out more, I feel. Because, like, that's just not enough. I think what I want to do there then is to see about doing that, and then doing a straight up gradient like that. All right. I also realized I haven't doubled up the interior of this at all. I feel like that would be better looking, to be honest. So I do this, this. There we go. So what I did there was I separated the section that's holding the gray and the section that's connected to the blue. And actually what I want to do is I want to kind of take, again, the issue here is this gradient needs to be more of this guy. Ah, shoot. So what I would want is when I get to the more blue section, there we go. The only thing I could possibly do, I think, that would make this slightly better is to try and blur these a little bit more than the shading lines. But I honestly think I did a fairly good job actually, like, obscuring those shade lines. Typically only a single gradient is fine, at least from my personal preference, but I think it comes also down to that specifically, which is personal preference. I think these look good enough, in my opinion, to be like in a game and not look like absolute garbage. So the idea with these ones is you can take this sprite and you can cover up to probably here if you want, but they're going to be placed in places or hanging upside down from these. In all honesty, what I should have done is I should have created a pivot point here. Circle, how make. Yes. Brain work. And then you do something like that. And then you throw a fancy blue thing in the middle. Actually what I want is that, followed by that, followed by something more like this. Like this, I guess. I mean, the idea is to create a circular object that looks like a joint. Like that. That doesn't look too terrible, to be completely honest. Although the intensity of the dark... what I should do is I should do this. Let's do that. And then we'll do... Oh, no, I know what I wanted. Something like that, maybe. Yeah. And then I'll take something like this and do that. Yeah, there you go. I'm starting to get down packed the easy part of this, which, oh my god, it's almost 10:30 already. This part, this is becoming relatively easy to do. The hard part next is going to be the more complicated portions of like Metroidvania. So for example, the space pirates from Metroid, or the False Knight from Hollow Knight, or Dracula from Castlevania. You know, these are more intricate characters that you need more pixels, and B, a little bit more thought into exactly how you want them to operate. So for example, this guy is a chaser, but he's, you know, relatively slow. Now that I can have different versions of this one guy. I can have one that jumps, I can have one that dashes, I can have one that's clumsy and just kind of, you know, crawls towards you. I can have one that just walks. I can have one that shoots. These are all valid options, and it comes down to how you really want to like balance your game and how you want, you know, the aesthetics to be. So for example, this one was my ranged version of this guy. He won't be hanging from any walls, but he'll be able to move, unlike these guys can. So let's go ahead and just kind of boot this guy up, because then the next thing that's going to be more challenging as well is getting the I'm at half. That's not good. We'll go ahead and put him there, I guess. I need to make them bigger. That way when I zoom in, I can still scale downwards. And yeah, okay, that's pretty good. And then I want to do something like this, but I think that's gonna be, whoa! Why'd you get this big again? Screw it, we'll go this big for now. It's double the height that I wanted at, but it'll allow me to do this a little easier. How tall is this boy? He's 4 tall. Wait, he's 4 tall, this is 2 tall, that makes sense. This guy's only 3 tall. Okay. Now, I will admit, in my head, this guy was going to be bigger than this guy. But I honestly quite like the visual of this guy being a mini guy. And then, this gives me the option to make an enlarged version of him later on. Likewise, this is 3 tall, meaning this and this are the same height, and this is about as tall as this guy and this guy. Although I imagined him being a lot smaller. Something I can edit with later, because all it takes is now scaling up and then changing the pixels to be more defined at a higher resolution. And ideally, the other portion of this is you can make this into a random event. For example, look at games like, so these ideas all came from Metroidvania-esque games, but these are similar in other games such as Binding of Isaac, Dead Cells, trying to think of other popular roguelites that have come out. Because even in those games, some of the fact that there's only 3 things that are really memorable: the story, which even then is sometimes hit or miss, or the environments, which Like, for example, Binding of Isaac, the various different places you can go. The story being what happened to Isaac. And then the characters, the enemies. And the variety, and knowing what each enemy does. Because you'll have to encounter them and face them appropriately. So, having those options... call it ranged. Zombie sprite ranged. And we can go ahead and create. We'll take this. And we'll make an outline layer. And this will be the last thing I do tonight, because it is getting to 10:30, and you know what that means. Means I need to go to sleep. I'm an old man or something. So this is something important to realize. This is a side view of him. Sorry, I'm concentrating, which is the reason why I haven't been really talking too much. Moved away from my chat. Okay, I haven't missed anything though. That's fine. We're fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. There we go. All right. Let me shore up the outline a little bit. Also, if you're wondering why I'm choosing where I'm choosing for the outline, like to shore up the excess of the outline, the short answer is it really depends. So the core concept I like to use is, what am I trying to do at this specific instance? Do I want to make it look bigger or smaller? If I want to make it look bigger, I choose the outside, obviously. If I want to make it look smaller or don't want to emphasize that portion as much, so like in this case, I want to emphasize this section over this section, well then I'll put it on this side to take away from it a little bit. As far as specific areas like this, I want to preserve these 2 pixels, so I choose everything but those 2 pixels, even if it means eating away into the space that I have here, which I want to make as large as possible. And I will admit that my shoulder sprite came out a little bit larger than I thought I wanted it, but I think that's something I can potentially fix later. I think the other thing I want to do is I want to do something along the lines of that. So the reason why I chose this one over that one is simply because I felt that it would take away too much going 3 pixels down right after going 3 pixels wide. So I wanted to smooth that out a little bit. That's the reason why I chose that. This I want to cut into the back a little bit more. I don't want to make it like that big of a angle. Will just not look natural. So I really want to do something more like that. And then I want to ease that out a bit. And then in reality, what I should do is take this entire thing and like shift it over. And you can see how that looks a lot neater already. If I take this away, I need to look at this section. There we go. And I want that to be more like that. And how do I want to do this? I want to get rid of that, I think. And I want this to be blobby. Best way I can describe it. And then I want this to be like that. And I want to get rid of this aspect. So what I want to do here is, that's his hand bracing this, which is his integrated gun. Bop music. And then I wanna duplicate, call this first pass. And for now, at the very least, what I want to do is I want to distinguish what I'm working with. And then probably call it a night. Probably want something more along the lines of like this. And then sure. There you go. And then this will be just something generic. I don't know, something like that. And there's still plenty to go. Whoa, to go. This is by no means the end of this guy. But that will have to be for another time. It is past 10:30. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. I want to give a thank you to anyone who was watching, and maybe whether that's through a playback. Sorry, Facebook. I know you guys aren't going to be able to hear this because they love muting my streams every time I do an art stream since I play Harris Heller. But what can you do about that? Certainly I can't do anything. The next time I stream, I might stream in the next 3 days, although there's no guarantee. If it is, it's going to be a surprise stream. So the next time I see you guys will probably be on Monday. And I believe Monday we're finishing up Darksiders 1. So we have some of that to look forward to. But until then, thank you everyone so much for watching this. Thank you DLive for hosting me on your homepage. Truly do appreciate that. And until next time, remember everyone to stay safe and don't get lost in the abyss.